YouTube, it's Marquita, and today is Veda day number 17. And as you can see from the title, I'm here to talk to you guys about why parenting is hard. So, I realized that I have a lot of YouTube subscribers and friends in real life, I guess you could call it, that ask me about my TTC journey, and they ask me about pregnancy and all kinds of other things. And, I give my advice, and I never, with having a new baby, I never share how hard being a parent is. And sometimes I wish that I would share that advice with people, but it comes out judgy, or I don't want to be judged, so I never say it. So this is me being fully transparent about my situation, and people can take it for what it is. If I get judged, then I get judged on my situation. And I share knowledge so that I hope that I can help shed light or help someone in a similar situation. So yeah, so this is why I say parenting is hard. I have a 8-week old. No, yeah, almost 8 weeks. She'll be 8 weeks in 2 days. Um, and it is not easy. And I say that it's not easy, and that's coming from two of us in the household. Before Krista and I started dating, before we ever met, I had planned to single parent. I figured I didn't need a woman. I was happy. I was secure in my career. I had my master's degree. I was comfortable. And I said, you know what? I'm going to have a baby because I don't want to wait on the right woman to come into my life. And I hear it all the time. A lot of people talk about, I'm not going to wait on the right man. I'm not waiting on the right woman. I'm ready to have a baby. And that, I'm totally with you. I was there. And now that I have the baby physically here, it's hard. It's really, really hard, even with two people. That's my first thing about it being hard. Um, it's hard being a stay-at-home mom. My whole life, I've been a overachiever. I graduated summa cum laude from both degrees. Um, I have, management positions in all of my jobs. As supervisor, I work, 50, 60 hours a week. And now, since February, I've been a stay-at-home wife or a housewife. And now that I have Riley, I'm a stay-at-home mom. And it is a huge adjustment. I say that for two reasons. First of all, I'm not used to not being mentally stimulated every day, and that was what a couple of housewives had warned me about, but I wasn't aware that that would come into play. Before I had Riley, it was a little bit different because there were things that I could do, and I could clean up the house and do schedules and try to stimulate myself mentally. And then now that I have Riley, I say that it's difficult because I get stimulation in different ways. I'm still not getting that mental stimulation. I'm not being challenged in that way, but I have new challenges which are helpful. However, being a stay-at-home mom is hard. And I was talking to one of my Facebook friends about it today, about how it's perceived that stay-at-home moms don't do anything during the day, that we must just eat bonbons and sit on our butts and watch TV. And I can tell you that that is not the case. You guys watched my day in the life video, and I barely get a moment edgewise to have my morning tea. I'm having my morning tea at 12, 1 o'clock, and to get a meal is a hard enough feat. And so being a stay-at-home mom and having a partner that goes to work is very difficult. And that brings me to why parenting is hard in general. Parenting is hard on a relationship. And that's not to say that we're headed, we're not having issues per se. It's coming out weird. So I'm gonna try to explain it. Having a baby puts a strain on a relationship regardless. We were together for years before we had a baby. We did traveling. We got to know each other. We have a very solid relationship. We did premarital counseling. We knew what we were getting into. um, having a baby still puts a strain on a relationship. Each person comes into parenting with their own style of parent, and being a stay-at-home mom, it's really difficult because you're there with the baby all the time. Just to give you an honest ideal of how my day works, Krista gets up and goes to work. She leaves at 3:45 in the morning, and she gets home about 1:30, 2 o'clock, depending on if she works overtime or not. So I'm with Riley from the time that I can't even think about a time frame to give you guys, but it's easier to say that Krista is with Riley from 3 o'clock until about 8 o'clock when she falls asleep, and then the rest of that is on me. And then if you're breastfeeding, it's even more difficult. And that's not to say that she doesn't get up and help, but when you're the parent that stays at home, it's really selfish to kind of say, well, let's balance out the schedule, and then the person that goes to work is exhausted because they've been up all night doing a shift to help with the baby. So Krista does I get days off, I get time off. There are mornings when I wake up and she's off work, that she takes Riley, and I will have gotten 8 hours of sleep. But that's not to say when Riley decides that she wants to cry all day, that I don't want to cry as well, because I'm exhausted and I know that I'm not going to have someone to hand the baby off to until Krista gets home. And then if she's exhausted, then it's difficult. That's also to say that for relationship wise, your focus is that baby. So everything else takes a back burner. If Riley is screaming, food preparation stops, cleaning stops, everything stops, because the baby is the number one priority. And babies are very demanding. So that makes parenting hard. I think that a lot of people see the cute aspect of having a baby. Like, oh my gosh, they're so cute, and babies give unconditional love. I hear that when I watch those teen mom shows, that babies give this unconditional love. But I can tell you that that is a lie. They do. They give you smiles, they give you giggles. They are so cute, but babies are a lot of work. And not having the right things in place can only make things more difficult. And when I say the right things in place, if you're a lesbian couple, then I'm assuming that you're planning your having a baby. And if you're TTCing, I'm assuming that you're planning a baby. But trying to get pregnant, that's taxing on a relationship, because it's a letdown every month to try to get pregnant. And if you're a straight couple, maybe figuring out if something's wrong with one person, or if there's fertility issues, those issues, money issues come into play when you're trying to get pregnant. Financing fertility, you know, it's not cheap, especially for lesbian couples. And I've shared this with Facebook and YouTube subscribers who have asked about it. The funds to try to have a baby are expensive. It doesn't matter if you're using a known donor or not. There's ways to, I guess, to try to shortcut um, the fertility route if you're a lesbian. But honestly, the funds to try to get pregnant in general are expensive. Being pregnant and having proper health coverage, and not depending on, I guess, the state to take care of you. Like, I don't want to get on my soapbox because I know that everybody has different situations, but I just feel like if you're planning to have a baby, you should be planning out everything, because it makes things so much easier. And it's hard enough to have a baby, but to worry about, if both parents are working, or if one parent's going to not be at home, like having all that mapped out and know what you're doing before you get pregnant. If you're TTCing, if you're thinking about TTCing, I encourage you, plan it out. Plan it out twice. Think about any potential roadblocks that could come up. And yeah, it's like my soapbox, it's my rant. I'm probably stepping on toes, and I might lose some subbies for some of the stuff that I've said, but I hope not, because I'm just being transparent, and I'm expressing how I feel, and I'm telling you that from a place of vulnerability because I have a new baby. So I am currently in the middle of it. And I say all that, and that doesn't mean that I don't love my baby. It doesn't mean that I don't love my wife. I'm telling you that it's hard because people who sugarcoat things for other people to make them feel better are not looking out for their best interests. So I say all that because I care. I might not know all of my YouTube subscribers personally. I might not know all my Facebook friends personally. And, I don't think there's very many people that I know in the real world outside of this community that are on my YouTube. But I care about you guys, and I don't want anyone to get into a situation where they're rethinking or possibly regretting or resenting their decisions. So I say all that to say this: plan ahead, know what you're doing, and have support. If you're going to do this on your own, if you don't want to wait for Mrs. Right or Mr. Right, more power to you. Get your support lined up before you ever even start the TTC process. I can tell you, getting a BFN and not having support, it's soul crushing. uh it's not any it's still gonna hurt even with the partner, but you have someone to share it with. So have some like friends, somebody you can lean on for support. The same thing for miscarriages, the same thing for if you lose your baby. I've been there. I've had 3 miscarriages and I lost a daughter, and not having support there is crazy. And I think that before you go through trauma, before you have a miscarriage or before you lose a baby, those of us who have been there call it blissfully ignorant, because you just assume, hey, sperm and the egg, they meet, they implant, 9 months, and boom, you have a baby. And that might not necessarily be the case. You never know what might happen. So that's why I always say plan A, B, C for anything in life. Like, doesn't matter. Know what you're going to do. Have financial stability. If you're planning to get pregnant, health insurance that comes from your job or from Cobra or something else, money in the bank and savings, a support system. Those are the things that are important, because once you get pregnant, you are pregnant, you have that baby, you've had this line of support built up, and you're ready for the challenges that come, because there's sleepless nights, there's throw up, there's screaming, there is feedings, there's diaper changes, there's lots of money involved. And if you don't have a solid plan, it will drive you crazy. And I don't want that for any of my subscribers. So that is my 12-minute, I don't know, rant for the day. And I hope that it helps someone. And like I said, I'm sure that I stepped on someone's toes. Don't take it personally. It's not a personal thing at all. I'm just expressing how I feel. So, and I feel like you guys would appreciate that versus me being like, oh my gosh, look at these cute pictures of my baby day in and day out, and not give you guys the real deal. Like, parenting is hard. It really is. There's so many rewarding moments when we've had a really, really hard night and Riley has slept for like an hour throughout the whole night, and I wake up and the sun's coming up and she's giving me smiles. It makes it all worth it. When I look at my wife and I know that this is just a rough patch and it's going to pass, and one day Riley's not going to be so fussy and we'll be able to reconnect as a couple, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. But know that your relationship is going to take a back burner, and you have to be strong enough ahead of time to be prepared for that. So I hope that helps. I know it was all over the place. It wasn't one of my scripted or thoughts put together videos, but it's coming from here. So if you guys have comments, questions, concerns, leave them in the comment section below. Yeah, I guess that is it. So I will see you guys tomorrow for Veda Day number 18. Riley has just finally went down after having a really fussy day, which is what inspired this vlog to begin with, is about how hard parenting is. And I'm going to attempt to catch a nap before she wakes up again. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.